Komm Junge, mach ihn, Phil Hungeregger in Unterzahl und Tor für die Schwenninger Wild Wings. Phil Hungeregger zum 2:0, die Arena explodiert. Und jetzt Auszeit der Wild Wings. Steve Walker bittet sein Team nochmals an die Bande. Unfassbar heute wieder diese Unterstützung von den Rängen. Das Spiel ist aus. Was für eine Teamleistung der Wild Wings. Schwenningen liebt, Schwenningen lebt, Schwenningen ist Eishockey. Offenes Visier. Erlebt euren Lieblingsclub hautnah und echt wie nie. Der offizielle Wild Wings Podcast, ganz ohne Maske und Visier. Ja, liebe Leute, liebe Hörerinnen und Hörer, liebe Offenes Visier Community, wir sind gleich soweit. Es geht los. Wir starten in Folge 19 und ja, lange Rede, kurzer Sinn. Es war Zeit, höchste Zeit für die Spink-Zwillinge. Viel Spaß mit den beiden, mit Annika und mit mir. So, liebe Leute, liebe Offenes Visier Community, es ist die Folge 19 und ja, höchste Zeit, dass wir die Spink-Zwillinge hier bei uns begrüßen dürfen. Ihr wisst, wir haben uns dazu entschieden, auch nach oder dank eures Feedbacks den Podcast dann nicht zu übersetzen. Deshalb für alle, die jetzt im Englischen nicht so firm sind, hört vielleicht trotzdem rein und alle anderen. Abfahrt, los geht's. Herzlich willkommen, Tylor Spink.
Danke.
And Tyson Spink. Like, it's pretty easy. If you don't wear a hat and don't wear a helmet, then I'm into the game, but it's still sometimes really hard, especially if you're on the ice. I always figure out who is the right tape job, because you do the tape job a bit different, especially at the end of the stick, right? So that are my helpers on the ice to figure it out if you don't see like the plate and all that stuff. So thanks for joining.
Thanks.
It's about time.
Yeah,
19. I'm 19. Hey,
wow.
Yeah, it's way over the
Way overdue.
Exactly. You've had a big road trip once again, the second one to start the season. Tylor, how was like the travel back home from Berlin? 9 hours drive, but with 3 points in the bag, it's easier, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot easier. I mean, obviously, anytime you're on the road and be able to get 3 points like that makes the bus ride a lot better. And it was a good weekend for sports. We were watching the Ryder Cup and watched some Red Zone NFL. So it was a good road trip back. We were all pretty excited.
So like you're both pretty golf enthusiastic, but you're Canadian, so you don't have a real team at the Ryder Cup, right? So where's your heart more, on the European or the US American side, Thijs?
That's a tough one. I like golfers on either side, but if I had to choose, I was cheering for the Europeans on this year's Ryder Cup. That's for sure. I thought some of the golfers on the European side is hard to not cheer for.
Yeah.
So I really like Shane Lowry. I really like Rory, and so those are the guys that I was cheering for this year.
We talk a lot about golf in here. It's not a golf podcast, but there's a lot of things that connect pretty well in here with the coaches as well. We had a lot of golf topics, but it's incredible. I feel like how big of a sports event it's developed the last couple of years in this Ryder Cup. I don't know, 50,000 people on the course, 3 days long, and millions watching on TV. So it's a special event, I feel, in sport for everyone who doesn't like golf that much. But the Ryder Cup is pretty much a must watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think just based on what it's done for the sport, and I think how the fans have started to interact. I mean, obviously there was some stuff that went on this weekend with the fans and players that was a bit maybe offside, but at the end of the day, I think it's good for golf, and it's fun to see the players kind of show some emotion. You know, like when you see like at the Masters and stuff, you see a little bit of it, and but in this atmosphere, you know, with the players going at the fans going at the players, it's kind of unique in the fact it's kind of golfers are kind of reserved, right? So they're not like us. They're pretty reserved, but I mean it's fun to watch for sure.
So like the fans, it's a perfect transfer to what we will experience over the next 2 home games pretty much. Thijs, you're here now in your 6th season, but I feel like
the fans are a big part of what you like, what you appreciate about the Wild Wings, the organization, pretty much like the whole region. Is it like that? And our home games still something special for you guys?
Yeah. It's the atmosphere in this rink speaks for itself. Yeah, like you said, it's our 6th season, and every game at our home rink is something special. It's something that you can't really put into words, honestly. And some of my family back home, when they watch on TV, it's something pretty cool. But then when they come here and see the atmosphere live, they're blown away. And it honestly, every game when you suit up in this rink, it's yeah, like I said, it's something special. And yeah, we're looking forward to the next 2 home games here. We've been on the road a lot, and I think our fans will definitely appreciate a couple wins here coming up.
Yeah. So we in this 3-man group talked a lot over the last 5 years, interviews, touring bus rides, road trips, whatever, preseason, all that stuff, golf tournaments. So how much is it like a home for you now at Tylor? I know like you both of your wives love it here, and they're pretty close to the other fiancé, girlfriends, and wives of the other players. How much is it like a homecoming after that long time you're staying here?
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and that's why I think we've been here for so long. I mean, just obviously on the ice is totally a different aspect, and we love it just hockey wise, but just off the ice and being here with obviously him and my wife and his wife is just something that we don't take for granted, because obviously it's something special. And like you said, we've been here for 5 years, and we love the city. And obviously we're in Filligan, we live in Filligan, and it's something that we've kind of made our second home. And I kind of more or less joke with my family back home, but it's like, like we've been here for so long. It does feel like home. And we come home in the summers. Obviously, it's awesome to see my parents and my younger brother and his wife, and just see immediate family. But at the same time, it's like we've made some good connections over here for the last 5 years. That it's there. It's the gap between home and here is kind of, it's not like we're going to work. It's kind of we're going back home and playing hockey, right? So. Within that, I mean, we don't want to lose sight of and take anything for granted, because it's something that we've cherished, and we've had I guess lucky enough to do it for the last 5-6 years here. So hopefully we just keep going day by day and keep moving.
So like you mentioned, it was about time to bring you in here in that podcast, but like it was all long planned, because we play against Tristan on Thursday, and the guy behind their bench is the guy that brought you in here pretty much. I felt like the first connection you had with the Wild Wings was because of Niklas Sundblad. He coached you in Sweden. So can you remember the day when Schwenningen came up to your table, Thijs?
Yeah, still remember it almost kind of like it was yesterday. Time flies, obviously, but yeah, we were coached by Sonny 2 years in Sweden. And then we went to Finland for a year, but then when we decided that we wanted to take a leap over to the German side of things, we Sonny was there, and he recruited us to come here and wanted us to play for the Wild Wings, and yeah, the rest is kind of history. So it's pretty cool that he's back in the league now,
for sure.
And we wish them the best, but obviously, it's once game time hits, we need the 3 points more than they do.
100% agree. Yeah. So like Thijs mentioned it, like when you moved to Germany for the first time, what kind of expectations do you have as a Canadian-born hockey player? Is it just the things you see all on social media and television or whatever, read in books, like the traditional food, the castles in Bavaria or whatever. Yeah. So what's the things that make you as a hockey player up to the decision to join a team in Germany?
I mean, obviously, just based on when we came here, it was kind of just like our agent was talking with Schwenningen and stuff. And when we were like, let's do some research on Germany and not even hockey, I just like the lifestyle, and like you said, with castles in Bavaria and all that stuff. And we didn't hear any negative things towards Germany, so that was a positive. And then once you get here, you're kind of blown away with how awesome like the cities are. I mean, obviously within the rinks and stuff, and the fans, it's unbelievable. It's next to, like again, Tyson said it, it's something that you can't even put into words when you get to experience that every game. And and comparing this to other leagues and that we've been to, it's just something that is just kind of, I guess, head and shoulders over other leagues, not based on the talent, all that stuff, but just based on like in the room, and everything's English and everything. We kind of were spoiled in the fact that like our coaching staff since we've been here has been all English, and it kind of leads to the point where like I should know way more German, but we don't. But hopefully we can change that coming up. But just like again with the lifestyle outside of the rink, it's just something that's so cool because you get to you get a day off, you can go to. I mean, I love Germany, but a day off you get to go to Italy or France 100%. Or Switzerland or wherever, right? So we're so central here, and I think it's kind of we talk as players. It's kind of like a honey hole in the fact that like you're so spoiled in the fact that you get so many different places, and it's so central that you can just go anywhere.
100%. Like the language is one thing, Thijs, but are there some, like how you can describe it in your daily routine, some things where you just think, oh, that's a pretty German attitude I have now after 5 years? Are there any German parts already inside you?
That's a tough question. I mean, one that comes to mind is I find just like a day-to-day thing, like if you're in the grocery store, I feel like back home everyone's a little bit more engaged with each other, whereas in Germany they're almost like just
follow the plan.
There's no like, hey, how you doing? It's just like, I need groceries, I need to get them now.
100%.
And it's like everyone's like banging into each other, and it's like it's kind of chaotic in the grocery store in Germany compared to back home. It's a little bit more laid back. So I find myself kind of doing that when I get home, kind of in my own world, and then I run into people I know, and I'm like, oh, geez, like I'm not here by myself, kind of thing.
You're allowed to talk.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's one of the things that comes to mind when you say, I'm used to the German culture, and I think that's one of the things that I would say.
What about you, Tylor?
Yeah, that's a pretty good example. I mean, I think another thing, like it's not just German, but like just European lifestyle, and the fact that like at home there's no really like cafes where you can just like in the afternoon like you just go and have a coffee and cake or something, like at home, like in Canada or like where we're from, it's like Starbucks, and it's like someone's running to Starbucks on the way to work and like to go, and everyone's freaking out because they got to go to work. But like here, like you can, like obviously we're spoiled in the fact that like our work is done by like 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon. So then we have kind of the afternoon, so we can go and have a walk, walk the dog, and go grab a coffee. But you see people in the streets in Germany, like I don't know, like they I guess have a longer lunch break or something. You see a lot more people like just hanging out, having a coffee in the afternoon. Where in Canada, like you don't really see that.
Yeah. So like for us, it's more busy at the grocery store, but more relaxing in the coffee.
Exactly.
And kind of it's the other way around.
Exactly. Yeah. Like in Canada and the US, it's like there's no cafes where people are like crossing their legs and having a chat. Like it's usually just like Tim Hortons or Starbucks, and let's drive through, and it's just chaotic.
Yeah. But like if the guys, our listeners, follow you on social media, it's obvious that you like strolling around with the dogs, with your wives, but as well like playing some card games in a cafe, having a good time. Is that pretty much the best balanced thing you can do as a professional athlete to refocus on the things that are pretty important on the ice, finding like a comfort zone outside?
Yeah, I think one of the big things I was taught early when I started my professional career, some of the veteran guys back, 12 years ago taught me that, one of the big things is it's hard to do, but when you're at the rink, you have to be professional and do your job. But when you're away from the rink, it's more for family and your life outside of your job, because it's very easy to combine both. And if you get caught up in, thinking about your game last night when you're trying to, have coffee with your wife, or, take care of your kids, or, there's multiple things outside of hockey that are just as important. And if you try to mix those, sometimes it gets a little complicated, and, you could be in a bad mood, so I find what helps me is that when I come to the rink for, let's say, 4 to 5 hours a day, sometimes longer, depending on game schedules. But when I'm at the rink, it's go time and it's my job, and I take it as serious as I can to do as well as I can. But when I'm away from the rink, I try to shut my brain off from hockey, and I just try to enjoy the little aspects in life and to try to cherish that, because obviously there's, it sounds cliche, but there's more to life than hockey and your job. So that's what I try to do. And it's tough again, like I said, but it's one thing that I try to focus on.
Yeah. Tyson mentioned it, like you started at the backyard ring back home in Canada playing together up to now, over 30 years now. It's crazy just to imagine how long you're together on the ice as a duo. I think like you can feel privileged on the one hand to experience it as a duo. I think it's even more special than just doing it with friends or something like that. But if we reflect or review your goal in Berlin, is it a play like that's pretty much coming out of intuition?
Yeah. Or
is it just like, have you done that play 100 of times where you were kids back home? Or,
I mean, I think we get this question asked all the time, like the twin telepathy kind of thing.
For sure, yeah.
The way I always kind of respond is that, like, I think it's a mix of both. Just one, in the fact that, like, there's stories that my parents tell us, like, back when we couldn't even remember, right? When like one of us would get hurt, and like I would be outside with my dad and Tyson would be inside with my mom, or vice versa, and like he'd hit his knee, and then like 2 minutes later, my knee would be hurting, and I wouldn't fall, right? So there was like different kind of stories with that, where like it's kind of like freaky in a way, but like at the same time, it's like that twin kind of weird telepathy thing. So maybe sometimes that is on the ice, but at the same time, like the reality of it is like we've been playing together for so long that it's more familiarity as well, right? Like we know where our routes are, we know where we're gonna be, in the fact that like I don't have to like think, and I think that works more like just as in like on the power play and all that stuff too, right? Like I don't ever have, because I've been with him for so long, right? Like I know where he's gonna be on the ice, and obviously there's times where it doesn't work out and that stuff happens, but I think the familiarity is one of the biggest things, because we've been doing it together for so long.
Yeah, so it's like what you always target on, like having like that chemistry, that intuition with another guy on the line. But pretty much over the years you had, like, I always, if I do like radio commentating, I always talk about the third twin. It doesn't make sense, but like there's a third man in your offensive line. So you stayed pretty flexible in that part, because like you had a lot of guys playing with you together here in the last couple of years. So is there anything specific that you like a third guy add to your line, or is it just like a natural thing that it has to click?
Yeah, we don't really put too much pressure on who we need as a third guy on our line. I think like you said, we've had multiple line mates over the the 5-6 years we've been here, and I'm assuming it's probably sometimes hard to play with us, just because we always play off each other, and it's probably sometimes to put with us, it's probably probably not the easiest thing sometimes. But I think we try as hard as we can to accommodate whoever is on our line, and we're not picky with whoever our coaches put us with. And obviously we just try to go out there every night and do what we do to try to help the team win. So at the end of the day, we don't have a perspective on who exactly we want on a line or who we would prefer. It's just whoever we're with, or whoever the coaches think that would be better as a line, then we roll with that, and we just take it day by day and do that.
So like your Schwenningen adventure turned out pretty successful, like on personal base, like, but even the club developed pretty good, like 2 times into the playoffs, not the last 2 years. If you look at the rink, it's getting nicer and nicer season by season. So you've been part of, I think, a couple of good steps in the right direction from the whole club. So if you look at the stats, you're now ranked 4th and 5th. If you just look at the regular season games in the DL all time for the Wild Wings, is that something you could have imagined when you stepped in here first? And the additional question, probably, we are running into like the new season now pretty hard, but you have like a point per game pace so far, so it's not getting worse, it's getting even better. Is that something that you can be proud of a bit, the way it has gone over here?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, like I said, we don't take anything for granted, and we try and work every day to try and get better. And but we're very fortunate enough that we've been here for so long, and that this club and the organization has believed in the both of us, and it's kind of something that we've kind of put in our shoulders to kind of get this organization to the next step. And like you said, we've obviously come a long way since that first year, and kind of not putting pressure on ourselves, but just something that needs to be done. And the fact that if we're going to be here this long, that it's something that we take pride in trying to get the organization and the club and everyone on board, and it's fun for everyone, right? Like, obviously we play the sport to win, right? Obviously the cliche is to have fun, and that's what we do every day, because I love to have fun and I love to be out there with the guys, but at the same time, it's a job, and you need to produce, and you need to win, right? So we've been fortunate enough to have some success here, and I think that's why we've been lucky and fortunate enough to be here this long.
Thijs, there are a lot of discussions throughout professional sports about the age of the athletes. To me, it's still bottom line, like there are good and bad players, not young and old. Because if we look like at our oldest guy at the rink, it's Will Weber, and if you see him at the gym or in the dressing room, unclothed, his upper body doesn't look like he is the oldest guy at the rink, because he takes care of himself. So how do you reflect on that, especially like I mentioned it, your production pace is pretty decent this year once again. So I feel like it's important to be good to your body, like nutrition wise, and do everything right to stay fit and healthy. How do you see that in general? Because I feel like it's a lot. It's a high stakes or these days, especially like I feel athletes get older but not worse because everything's getting more professional. The things we touched on. How do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it right. I think age is just a number, especially in sports. You see it everywhere. You look at even in the NHL. There's still guys that are creeping up in their late 30s, early 40s that are still producing in the NHL, and technically the best league in the world. So obviously, people love to say age is a factor in how you continue in your career. Obviously, that's no secret. The older you get, the tougher it gets, exactly. But at the same time, you adapt, right? So I'm going into my 12th year of professional hockey, and over those 12 years, obviously I'm not near as young as I was, but I try to do the things that make me successful. I take care of my body as much as I can. I do the stretches, I do my mobility, I do everything that I can to help this team and to keep my body in a top shape, as top as I could or can, to be able to perform at a high level. So I think at the end of the day, it's that you can hear things and say that you have an old team, but if you treat your body well and continue to do the things, it's not, age is just a number, and you can prove those people wrong. Like you said, Will Weber is, what is he, 37?
I think so. I think so. 37.
37, and he's one of the most disciplined guys I've ever seen. He doesn't even put a treat into his body. Like he's next level. He works out crazy, and and there's no secret to why he looks the way he does and the way he plays, and he knows that's his game, and you would never guess that he's 37 years old out there. So that makes.
I feel like that makes sense 100%, especially like what you mentioned, and you too. During your career, you adapt in so many things you haven't even know when you started it, and you can play more up to your strengths, especially in hockey or American football, where you have that special teams where you know what your abilities you need to bring to be a good and valuable part of a team. So to me, like especially in hockey, I feel like it's even more the way we discussed about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like just touching on it, like just my trainer back. I mean, Hank here is unbelievable, and he treats us with respect, and he's a really good trainer in the fact that like he lets us listen to our bodies, and he gives us structure, but at the same time there's different things that in a day basis where the young guys or guys that are bigger or whatever, they're going to do something different as opposed to what I'm going to do, and and same with my trainer back home this summer, right? Tice touched on it, like 10, 12 years ago, I was back squatting, like 300 pounds, and like that was fine, right? But now, like, I don't, there's no chance I'm doing that anymore, right? Like I'm gonna do something equivalent, but something that's going to help my body and not going to break my back down. And so there's different single leg stuff that we do and different mobility stuff that we can do, and just to kind of adapt, and that's what we try and do. And it's not like we get weaker. It's just something that, like, I mean, it's science, right? Like the more you get older, the less time you just can't do that, right? When you're young. So just little things like that's going to help us prolong our career, and obviously we want to keep playing, and I guess just with those little tweaks, it could help us.
For sure. Yeah, that's good to hear. I already thought about it that way, but yeah, you confirmed me once again. Thanks for that. So just one little preview or the one on what's next for us. Like we mentioned, 2 home games, then we go pretty much into a more regular rhythm. Finally, I think with drawing on the road and then back home against Augsburg, and from then on we move pretty regular with home and away road games. We are unfortunately down 2 men with a bit longer and heavier injuries, with Timmy G and Feisty, a guy who played with you a couple of times lately. It's always not good, I feel like, early in the season, losing 2 players for a longer stint. But Bitsy, Dominic Bittner mentioned it the last podcast with that like it gives other players the chance to step up, be even more valuable for the team. How do you see that? And how comfortable are you with the group you're in right now and the process that's ongoing, Tylor?
I mean, it's obviously tough to lose guys like that, and no matter who you lose, it's always tough, right? But 2 guys like that, obviously Timmy coming in here being his first kind of time in Europe, and to be really excited about it, and I think everyone was excited to see him play and contribute, and obviously, I mean, you hate to see it, but it was a huge block for us in the game. But again, that's the unfortunate thing about our sport, and there's obviously injuries, and again with Feisty, what happened last game. I mean, obviously he loves we love playing with Feisty too. He's a great guy and great kid, and
100%.
And he's always excited to play with us. And it was unfortunate that he had that happen to him. And I was texting him yesterday and just told him, like, obviously I know he doesn't have a girlfriend or a wife right now, so we live in the same street. So I was kind of gonna say, hey man, like, sucks that it happened, but if you need anything or need groceries or anything, like, you got some stairs to go up and stuff like that. So just kind of lending a hand to him and just hoping that he recovers really well. But again, like you said, it's with when guys go down, it creates opportunity for other guys, and our coaching staff's going to do a good job at kind of bringing those guys up. And again, it's kind of like that next man up kind of thing. And when those guys are out, and other guys are going to step in and hopefully do a good job and kind of contribute.
Good. Anything to add about that? The next couple of games, Thijs? Just one game after the other, like always?
Yeah, I mean, don't look too far ahead. We need to continue to play well, and obviously we're coming off a huge win in Berlin, and we're obviously down a couple guys here, but the good thing with our locker room, we've been together for quite some time now, and we have a lot of guys that are extremely close in that locker room, and I feel like we take pride in the way that we have guys in that locker room that are extremely close, and I think we've done a great job already. Only 6 games in, to be able to stick together and continue to fight, and I think we're going to continue to do that, and we're not going to look to anyone else but all the guys in the room, and we're going to be ready to play come Thursday.
Perfect. So, like, the best part pretty much about our podcast is we'll bring in our fans. They had a chance to send some question in via social media, and therefore Annika is here as well. She's the girl for the overtime, and the overtime starts now.
Got it.
So,
let's hear
Annika, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah,
we can hear you.
So I'm the girl for the overtime. And Carsten Koch always sends us a lot of questions. And the next 2 questions are from him. And the first one, was there ever a possibility during your professional careers that you would play for a different club?
No, there wasn't actually. We've always had the same agent, and always had the same mindset, and the fact that once we kind of came over to Europe, that we'd stick together, and we've been fortunate enough to have that opportunity. And moving forward, we don't see any type of separation, and I think we're better together. And obviously, we can play separate, and if one guy gets hurt or whatever. But other than that, it's kind of been a package deal since moving over to Europe, and I don't think there's going to be any change.
So there has never been a discussion about it.
No,
Okay.
not really.
That's great.
There's a bird down there.
Yeah.
He's yelling. Benny Marshall, going crazy.
Keeping it light, Benny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the second question, what quirk, I hope it's the right word, annoys you about each other?
That's a good question.
Oh.
I mean, we spend a lot of time together. I would say Tyler's quirk would be he's extremely OCD. I mean, I'm very neat as well, but he brings it to the next level. So I think him just always having to make sure that his stuff is in order and not losing anything, or if something bothers, he needs to ask me the question and be like, is there something wrong with your phone? Just because there's something, a glitch on his phone. That's like, is your phone acting up? Because mine is, so he always needs to reassure me. So that's probably one quirk that he always does. And yeah, I would say that.
What about you?
It's a pot calling the kettle black, I guess. Meaning, like, he does the same thing. No, I think, like he said, like, we spend so much time together. We're on the road together. I mean, we live 2 seconds from each other. We're always texting, and our wives always, like, it's a running joke, like, what are you guys texting about right now? Like, we see each other at the rink. We see each other, like, on the road. And then it's like, my wife will look at my phone and be like, what are you guys talking about? You just saw him 2 minutes ago. And it's like, I don't know, we're talking about hockey or golf or fantasy, whatever, anything like that. So, no, like, and there's a joke too, like, we room together on the road. And some guys get their own room, like, depending on if someone's sick or whatever. Yeah. And, like, it's usually the older guys or whatever. And I always look at Hank and be like, hey, we get our own room today? And Hank's like, no, you guys are together. No, I don't know. Like, a quirk with Tyson, I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough question. I think the biggest one is, like, maybe on the ice, like, no matter what, it's like my fault, like, yeah. But, like, that's just like us bantering back and forth. And I always joke, it's like, oh yeah, it's my fault again. And then the guys, like, look at it. But other than that, like, there's nothing really. We get into it in games and in practice and stuff like that. But I think it's just, like, more competition, and it kind of leads to the fact that, like, we're always together, right? So we have a different relationship with one another, as opposed to, like, I wouldn't, like, talk to Benny Marshall like I would talk to Tyson, right? And it's just, like, something that's just always been there, and that's just kind of how it works.
Yes, so you've already talked a bit about age and that kind of stuff. So Patrick asked, how long do you want to keep playing hockey?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I've ever put a number on how long I want to play for. It's easy to, look far in advance and be like, oh, I want to play till I'm 40 years old. But I think that's unrealistic, because it's a job where you got to take it day by day, and depending on how your body feels, and like how we said before, age is kind of just a number. And some days I wake up and I feel like I'm 22, and some days I wake up and I feel like I'm 55. It just depends on the game and the practice schedule and the road trips that we have. And like we said earlier, it's a privilege to be able to play hockey for a living, and I never take that for granted. And I think I like I said, I don't have an age per se, but I want to continue to play as long as my body feels right, and being able to help teams win. And as long as I keep my body in good shape, I don't have a specific number, but it's definitely not in the foreseeable future, that's for sure. Yeah,
you cannot leave if you still play.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Just to piggyback off what he said, yeah, it's at the same time, it's just like it's something special that we've got to do, and I don't see it. Some guys joke like we're on the back nine, and another golf reference because of the age, but at the same time, it's just it's kind of something that, like he said, day by day, but at the same time, if I take care of my body and mentally, physically, and emotionally, all that type of stuff that goes into it. We feel great, and we're having fun. And I always told my wife and obviously Tyson, once I stopped having fun and once it became like a job, it sounds cliche, but once that stopped, then I would retire. But I'm still having a lot of fun with the guys, with everything here. So yeah, I don't see the end in sight.
Perfect. So there is no name, but the person asked, is there any downside having your own brother on the team?
No, I wouldn't say there's any downside. I think Tylor said it, earlier, is that, when we first came over to Europe, it's a huge culture shock, and it's coming from Canada. It's obviously different culture, and I think we were fortunate enough to be able to come over here together and lean on one another, just hockey-wise, but even outside of the rink, to be able to talk English and be able to have not just a brother but a friend here to be able to experience life with. So I don't think there's any downside, because we obviously feel like we're better together as well, and so I don't see any downside to that at all.
I have a little bit different when he yells at me on the ice. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's like he said, it's amazing. It's something that, again, we don't take for granted, and we've experienced this for our whole lives and our whole professional career, and there's really no downside. I mean, we've had so many positive experiences together, and I don't think we'd want it any other way.
Mm-hmm. So
The overtime is not just 5 minutes with us.
Yeah,
it's
there
way
are a
longer.
lot of questions.
It's way longer.
That's all good. All right. I like this headset anyways.
Yeah, you feel comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kadir asked, I don't know how he means that one, because he asked who will be the coach and who will be the co-coach. Maybe after your career?
Oh, yeah. That's a unique question. Good one. I don't know. We've never really actually thought about.
The club has to hire 2 head coaches.
Yeah, exactly. 1A and 1B, I guess. Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I think after hockey, I mean, we haven't really even talked about really what we want to do.
Would being a coach
a
possibility? Or?
Yeah, there's some days where I think we talk and we want to stay in hockey, and there's other times where it's like maybe we don't. But I mean, at the end of the day, we haven't really put too much thought in that, because we're focused on our playing career as of right now. But we both have degrees in Bachelor of Arts, and I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know, but if I had to pick, I'd be head coach. He'd be assistant coach.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess. Like he said, it's something that we don't really think about too much. But my wife back home, her parents actually own a hockey academy. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming, and depending on when that time comes, I'm assuming they would probably want me to help out in some way when my career is done, because maybe I'll be able to coach there or teach or do something depending on what happens there. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Makes sense.
Maybe one last question.
One last question. Sounds brilliant.
So Sean Kingston asked, what was your hockey idol growing up?
Well, the one that comes to mind for me, well, I have 2 actually. One, the famous Mary Lemieux, was probably one of my biggest ones. Just watching him, and my dad really liked the Pittsburgh Penguins, and that game was always on growing up. But another guy that when I was kind of a little bit older was Danny Heatley, that played for the Ottawa Senators, and I liked watching him and Jason Spezza, that Alfredson line. And I was an Ottawa Senators fan, obviously, because we were so close to Ottawa. So I'd say those are probably the 2 that come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say mine was, he played for the Detroit Red Wings, Pavel Datsyuk. He was one of my idols growing up. I thought he was one of the best players to ever play for the Red Wings, and just the skill he had, and the way he played the game was unbelievable. And again, he played till a pretty long time, I think, till he was close to 40 as well. So it's kind of a cool thing to see that guys can continue to play for so long if they're that special and good. The other one would be probably Jesse Winchester. We're we're good friends. He wasn't a superstar by all means, but we were great friends with him back home and worked out with him, growing up.
If he's watching this, he's going to be mad. You just said he wasn't a superstar.
But he, he played in the NHL for about, I think, 7 or 8 years, and he's one of our good friends, and he was both in both of our weddings, and he taught us, a thing or two about playing professionally. So he's another guy that I looked up to growing up as well.
Awesome. So Annika, thank you
You're
for
welcome.
bringing the overtime to life once again.
Thanks
Gentlemen,
for the time.
great privilege. It was worth the wait, but now we got it done.
Perfect.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All the best over the next stretch. I think you have like a big event happening too, Thijs. When is the date of birth?
It's scheduled.
Scheduled?
Yeah, well, it's the birthday is supposed to be November 7th, but we went to the doctor yesterday, and he said, depending on what happens, but everything's good to go as of now, and plan to have a week before or after that date, depending on what happens. But
So the schedule says like you guys are number 3, right? It's Schwartzy in October.
yep,
We had like Phil already in September, and then it's Kara finishing the year off
crazy.
in December. It's really crazy.
Yeah, it's
4 in a
crazy.
row.
Yeah.
So all the best for you
Thank
guys
Appreciate
on
it.
that part. Thank you very much, Tylor, as well. Thanks for edition number 19, the Spink Twins.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Wir feiern in der nächsten Folge runden Geburtstag. Wir werden 20 Folgen Offenes Visier und ihr seid schon so lange mit dabei. Große Freude unsererseits, dass sich da so eine Podcast-Community entwickelt hat und ihr uns ja über Social Media und auch per Mail immer mit so tollen Fragen für die Overtime versorgt. Vielen Dank dafür. Es wird so auf Ende Oktober hinauslaufen und wir haben uns überlegt, komm, bringen wir doch den Philipp Feist nach seiner Verletzung hier bei uns ans Mikrofon. Wie es die Spink-Zwillinge gerade gesagt haben, er hat keine Freundin, der arme Kerl. Nein, Spaß beiseite, wir machen jetzt keine Werbung für weibliche Bekleidung von Philipp Feist. Wir haben ihn hier bei Offenes Visier und sprechen mit ihm darüber, wie es ihm so geht, wie die Rehabilitationsmaßnahmen verlaufen und freuen uns dann wenigstens hier am Mikrofon, wenn schon für eine Weile nicht mehr auf dem Eis. Also Folge 20, Geburtstag mit Philipp Feist.
Wenn Eishockey irgendwo mehr ist als nur das nackte Ergebnis, dann hier in Schwenningen, hier ist Eishockey Kulturgut.